Thank you, Angel, and Heidi ho, everyone. Welcome aboard. It's a brand new week, of course, and well, I've got to say, probably a little bit of a brand new look as we begin this week with the market's reaction to the Fed, of course, last Thursday and Friday. Quite decisive, one would suggest. Do I agree with it? I don't have to. I can't. But, the market's the market. And I can't complain because it certainly did a few favors for the trades that we're in, not least was Aussie US dollar. The question, of course, now remains or is that, well, is it going to continue? Is this now a trend? Have we just begun a new trend? Or is this just an overreaction by the market? Don't know. I can't answer that question just yet, but it would appear the course of least resistance for trading US dollar in particular would be to the high side, and therefore you would be looking to trade things like pound, euro, Aussie, not so much the CAD, but certainly all of those currencies. Kiwi is another one. All of those currency pairs will come under pressure again, you would imagine, in the next couple of days. However, that said, it was a bit of a move, was it not? And you would expect some consolidation / retracement, or would you? And again, I say that is the burning question. We'll try and unravel that a little bit, or Ash and I will have a good yak about that. If you want to join in, by all means do so. If you've got an opinion on that, but it's interesting, really interesting. Anyway, let's have a look and see what is on offer in terms of a breakout trade for the pound US dollar. G'day, Paul P. How you doing, mate? We will investigate this little range here, which would be okay. I wouldn't mind trading that as a breakout, but that's not the current system. The current system is look at the previous 2 days, which of course includes this kind of second stage waterfall, really, isn't it? I don't know that I want to be I want to be in that 150 odd pips. I don't think so. And again, the question does really hold its head up and say, is this the beginning of a trend? The new trend, if you like, where we've got a strong US dollar. I really don't know. Can't answer the question. G'day, Andy. But all I can do is do what I do every single day, and that's just watch what the price is doing and see what sort of chart patterns we've got and go from there. So I'm not going to trade the pound as a breakout today, unlike Thursday where the euro dollar breakout was a clanger, absolute beauty. And if you're up that time of day and place the trade, good on you. I was not. Yet this morning I get out of bed and watch the golf. Well, I didn't get out of bed and watch the golf. Watch the bed in golf. I mean, watch the golf in bed. Let me put it that way. I enjoyed it too. It wasn't too bad. All right, so let's scrap the pound for now and go and have a look at what I believe were the only 3 key reversals on the weekly charts. There were a lot of reversals, but what I call key reversals were very few and far between. And this was one. This is Swissy yen. And those of you who don't know what a key reversal is, or what I call a key reversal, it is a candle or bar whose high is higher than the previous day's high, and that closes on or near its low. That qualifies in absolute spades, one would have to say. Swissy yen, very difficult to trade when you've got a bar like that. You either have to believe that what happened on Thursday is the real deal, and the market is going to actually continue in that vein, to actually put an entry underneath that bar, because where are you going to put your stop loss? That's the real burning question. If you put it up here, then your risk factor versus your reward factor is very poor, and that will be the case on many of these particular reversal bars from last week. But the key reversal bars, as I say, Swiss yen is one. I was hopeful that we might get an inside bar today even on this bar here. But that at this point, well, it hasn't happened. We've gone low again. And that really does look an ominous sign for Swiss yen. Without a pullback, as I say, very, very difficult for me to get into this at this point. Euro Swissy was another key reversal on the weekly chart. Now, Euro Swissy, you'll note there that we, those of you who were in last week, will look at this chart and go, well, hang on a minute, weren't we short this pair? And indeed we were. And that was our target right there for Euro Swissy. Didn't quite make it, but we did notice on the daily chart that we had a bullish engulfing followed by a double cross on the weekly pivot. Sorry, I got distracted there. And therefore we switched allegiances. We had our stop loss for the short at entry, which was there, right there. And we took TP1 here or somewhere around here. I can't quite remember, on the long. So we left the short in. We placed the long here, took a TP1 about here, as I recall. And I did say if the stop loss, which was at entry on the short, was triggered, that I would take TP2 and move my stops to entry on Euro Swissy. That's exactly what we've done. So both the short and the long will be winners. Just a matter of how much we get out of both of those trades. So that's that doesn't happen often, I've got to say, in my neck of the woods. But when you see it, you've pretty much got to go with it. And if this does go long now, which I'm not really sure of, to be honest, but I can see it going to the monthly pivot, certainly the top of the range, then A-OK. But that's not the quest that we have in front of us right now. That is rather this key reversal bar on the weekly chart, which of course is once again extremely decisive. I've got to go back to here, and we spoke about this at length. I think Euro Aussie was another one that was in the similar vein, where we had this very, very big bullish move. And then everything was kind of inside that. Then we got an ascending triangle, broke out of the top of that. Well, here we are again, retesting the top of that breakout. And that's why I was pretty confident that our target on Euro Swiss short was in the right place. Well, I missed out by not too much, but enough to not get that ultimate reward on that particular trade. Anyway, I do see this as a potential continuation of this big bull move, retracement, breakout, pullback, retest the breakout. So I can definitely see this going along and testing these highs again. I think this is in an okay position right now, because you can see on the daily chart that we have had we had a gap, of course, and now the price is trying to get back to there. I want to wait till it tests the weekly pivot. So if price comes back down here, test the weekly pivot, I would look to trade this long or add to the position that we're already in, sorry. The 4-hour chart is not giving me anything at the moment, apart from the fact that we've come back inside the range, and the gap down makes it very, very difficult to give you a clear, or give me a clear view of what happens next. Hate gaps. They really, really annoy me. But anyway, I want to see a black candle at some stage. And if I do see that, then maybe even as early as this one, I'd be looking to trade this long or add to the position that we have already got long. I quite like it, actually. The other key reversal bar was on pound yen. Now, again, very, very difficult to trade it because of the size of the bar, and the pullback would be very, very nice on this particular one again. But then you've got to come back and say, well, okay, the reaction to the Fed was swift and strong, Is it now time for a pullback, or are they just going to continue to sell these currencies off? This would suggest to me that, well, the yen, as we know, we spoke about it often, the yen was completely oversold against quite a basket of currencies. The only thing I'm sad about is that we didn't get more out of trading the yen, in particular the Aussie. And as Ash joins me on, I shouldn't have probably mentioned that, but never mind. We can't get them all. We are in euro yen short, so that's making up for it a little bit. So g'day, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Now I don't know whether what's my sound like. Is it okay?
Yeah, you're a little bit off mic, but it's okay.
Okay, because I can put my headset on if it's better.
Well, up to you, mate. Why is there a reason why you haven't got it
on? Because it sounds okay, great. Because my headset's attached to. I've had a bit of a nightmare here because I've got two screens that are now out on my PC, and I usually use
nice.
So what I've done is I've connected up my laptop for the show, and I'm using the two screens that I have remaining on my PC for trading. But I listen to the news and stuff, and I listen to the news through my PC rather than through the laptop. So,
mate, don't complicate it. It's quite okay. We can hear you fine. That's no problem.
Mate, fantastic. Yeah, interesting actually, mate. And yeah, you're right. I am frustrated about the Aussie yen. The only thing about the Aussie yen that the mistake that I made was in balancing my portfolio. Of the things I really was quite short in the market, and I had to get rid of something, and it ended up being the Aussie yen. And, I look back on it now and I think, oh, I wish I'd still had that, but it doesn't.
Well, we got really Aussie dollar, we got euro yen, so somewhere in the mix we did make up for it. So.
Yeah, do you know, mate? I always kind of I always prioritize sleeping at night than anything else. And
sadly, last Thursday, so did I.
Yeah, I just felt a bit imbalanced, and I wasn't relaxed about it. And I thought, you know what, I find being relaxed a lot more important. And the reason for that is that I know that there's another opportunity to make money, so I don't ever kind of put so much weight on one thing, even if it ends up being would have ended up being a good winner. It's just one of those things. I just sort of think, well, I made a mistake initially, just overloading, and that was that. So.
Yeah, look, just because the market reacted to one announcement doesn't mean a thing really in the scheme of things.
Yes. It's a crazy scenario now, actually, mate. I mean, I'm looking at the FTSE quite specifically, and even though the market is negative at the minute, I am looking for it to bottom out. I mean, we did see quite a few assets just tank. I mean, we saw Bitcoin come down significantly. We saw gold come down. We've seen the dollar just boost to the upside. And we talked about the dollar as well, and how we were going to play that. And again, in hindsight, what a fantastic trade it would have been just to put the trade on and just let it go. I was trading the NASDAQ short, and even though I made money out of it, there was no follow through. I had to kind of cut my position when it was kind of, it did have a really good move, but I had to cut my position because it was just starting to turn around. And the NASDAQ's actually, it's done okay. And I thought out of all of them, it would be the NASDAQ that would have suffered. And I even cancelled a FTSE short on it, because I had the NASDAQ short, and it's the FTSE that's underperformed and the NASDAQ that hasn't. So sometimes it's quite difficult to see exactly what the driver is. I think there's maybe something else at play as well, which is why the NASDAQ's held on. There might be another opportunity with the NASDAQ, and I will watch out for that. Now with the FTSE and many of these markets, I think the move was probably vicious enough on over a short term for us to get a dead cat bounce. I think the issue is that it probably will only be a dead cat bounce, because if this inflation and tapering talk continues, and we might now start to see it wash right amongst all the other central banks, the equities will suffer because they just don't have the same value.
Well, it's really the question, isn't it? And we preempted this on Wednesday by saying, this is why you want to trade the FOMC breakout trade, because it can cause trends and reverse trends. Yeah. And this is now the burning question. Has it done that? Or is this now just a big reaction to in my mind, benign statement.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Do you know what the issue is starting to become is that they are now they're now kind of all coming on board. Because now we had Bullard out saying that actually we could start to raise interest rates in 2022. So it's like it's not the statement itself isn't the issue. It's just that now we're starting to get a change in tone. And it's the overall tone that that has become the problem, I think, rather than that one particular statement. So Bullard's coming out and saying that the ECB, I think we're talking about possibly taper some kind of PEP tapering as well. We got the Bank of England this week, and the Bank of England previously were quite bullish on the stock market. Do they now come out and effectively, hint at the same thing? Because we know what happens. The United States sniffs and everybody else gets a cold, and will we get that point where all the other countries now start saying the same thing, start kind of towing the line with the United States, or will they go down their own path? And obviously if they have the same tone, then we're likely to see risk assets weaken across the board.
Yes, and you've probably given me, underline what I'm kind of thinking going into the week, because we are starting to hear that groundswell from central bankers. The only ones that I'm not hearing that from is the RBA. And that makes me think the Aussie is going to be an underperformer in the next few weeks or months.
And that's again quite an interesting dynamic, because the Aussie obviously has been a pretty solid kind of performer, isn't it?
Economy's great, everything's going along just fine. Commodity prices come off though. It's going to affect it, obviously.
And I suppose this is the other aspect, isn't it? Was our commodity. So this is the other aspect of it, is that we have been, a little bit, oil's down a little bit to $71 a barrel, 71.36. This is the other aspect of it, is that we've been moving in one direction for such a long time, and really then caught, weren't we? We were sort of like, we had a big thrust up ever since April 2020, and that thrust has really kind of like been bobbing along for the last few weeks. Now we've had that thing where it's just come unstuck, and because we have been so high and then bobbing along, inevitably the move to the downside ends up being pretty vicious. I suppose a lot of people's stops were kind of sitting just under the horizontal levels and the range levels. So we could actually
they're
see.
Gone. But
and you're right, mate. We could actually see some genuine weakness in this stuff.
Look at that.
I got into the euro yen short at the start of last week. Brilliant, mate. Well done. So it's nice for a change. Well, let me just talk to you about for a change, because what's happened really for everybody, and this is where sometimes you can kind of confuse bad trading a lack of making money for bad trading and making money for good trading, rather than it's just going, maybe the market environment is right for us now for our approach. So that maybe one of the reasons we have had for a change is that this is the market condition that we've all been waiting for. So
not all of us.
Not all of us. Sorry, no, that's true, mate. Not all of us. But this is the market condition that the trend traders have been waiting for. So so now we need to dive on it, and this is the time that you start to get excited. So actually, this is another jigsaw, but part of the jigsaw for our learning, if you like, John. I would say is that we say, right, okay, which market conditions fit best to my strategy? And what you need to see to understand that is a few different market conditions. And now you're getting to the point where you're seeing different market conditions. Is the approach not so good in a range? Now, if you can hit that and go, actually, no, it's not, then if it starts to hit a range, you want to stick out of the way. Is the approach good in a trend? Yes, it is. Okay, well, I want to try and pick up those trends. Now, the next thing you need to ask is, what creates a range and what creates a trend? And that's the hard part. That's the slightly trickier part. But we know something that created it this week, don't we? Because it was I guess it's been telegraphed that the Fed speech has changed the market dynamic, and it often does. Mario Draghi used to do the same. Donald Trump occasionally used to do the same. So then we can start going, right, okay, well, let's just pinpoint our trades around those announcements. We could get something, we may not, but at least we can pinpoint around those announcements and wait for the next announcement. So the chances now are that the yen, and I think you were saying this as well, mate. I think the chances are that the yen probably would trend for a while, so we can start looking for opportunities there until the rhetoric changes back again.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I don't know whether we're going to get a FTSE trade on, mate. I'm looking at the FTSE and I'm interested, but we got Royal Dutch Shell down nearly 2%, BHP down 1.5%, Rio Tinto down 3.1%. So that's I'm looking at the big players and thinking, do I want to get involved in a bounce here with some of those big numbers, those bigger players down so much? I don't know if I do. Even though it's not as bad as it was the other day. And I think if anything, we're probably going to have to wait for some downside, but the price is just not attractive at this stage. So I can't promote anything right now. I think it might be one of those days that you just let the dust settle. If you're in trades, then I'd give them some room. I certainly wouldn't be kind of like tucking in right at this stage. And then now they've started and gone, I'd give them a little bit of room. But if you're not in anything, then initiating anything here may be a bit dangerous. Going further short, you might not get the best price. It might bounce first. Going long, you're going against something that looks pretty powerful at this stage. So not sure if I'm going to get anything. Not sure if I'm going to get anything or not this week, mate. Sorry, today.
Well, you've got a job, you know. I've
got a job. Okay, what's my job?
It's Monday. We've got to pick the weekly trade.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay.
What was last week's?
Last week's was it the Euro something?
No, it was Aussie.
Aussie short, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Versus the what?
The dollar.
Oh yeah, so we did well last week then.
We did well last week.
Okay. All right. Well, let me bring you up.
We almost got it twice actually. We got into a daily one as well, but we were just a little bit early on that one, sadly. Well, when I say early, the trailing stop was the one that got hit. Not by too much. We were just a tad unlucky with that one. But anyway, we've got the weekly. So the job this week is which pair? And we've just decided that the Aussie's still weak. Anything else?
Okay, so
feel free to go outside of currencies if you want.
Okay, all right. Well, let me give you the rundown of the COT data and the COT and the seasonals. The COT and the seasonals haven't really changed, and they are both saying short pound and short CAD.
Okay, so I've got a key reversal on pound yen.
Okay, what short?
Yes.
Okay, so that is that. So pound yen short. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, the yen. Do you know the other thing is that yen seasonally, the yen is very, very strong. It's probably the strongest currency for not necessarily for kind of like volatile spikes to the upside, but for a long period, it's probably the strongest currency. I think it tends to rally right the way through to September now. So well, we could be looking at that.
That one makes sense then at the moment.
Yeah.
Tough to trade those big bars, of course, but if everything says do it, you do it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, the as I say, the COT and the seasonals do. Now, the other thing about the UK, I mean, I'm not sort of jumping up and down about the Japanese economy. By the way, oh gosh, right, I'm going to find it difficult not to take a FTSE long.
Okay. Do you need me to fill while you're having a look at that?
No, I mean just for the room, really. I mean, I don't know if people trade the FTSE with me or not, but just for disclosure, I'm going to have to take a FTSE long. I don't really want to in a way, but the information says go long, so I'm going long on the FTSE.
There you go, guys. Pick your
anybody wants to
poison.
see it, then you can then just ask, and I'll talk you through it. Anyway, sorry. So let's go down to the yen. I'm not really excited about the Japanese economy. However, it is it's been okay. It's been relatively solid. The Japanese the yen, the Japanese numbers have been relatively solid, and obviously with expansion, we really should be looking at the yen. The level on the FTSE, my level is 5 pips up, so I've gone in at 69.70. 69.70, and I'm going to probably initially there's a level around about 20 pips above, so I'm looking for around about 69.90. 69.90 as a an initial trade. Oh, I didn't go in enough on that one. Yeah, as an initial trade, I'm going in at 69.90. So we're coming out at 69.90. But there is a pivot which is quite a bit higher than that, actually, a whole 90 pips above. I don't think I'll be so brave as to go there. I can show you it if you want, mate.
Go for your life, mate.
Okay.
I've got something interesting to show you when you're done.
Okay, fantastic. All right, let me just bring this up with the FTSE. Because there's still an opportunity here. Now I'm on a small screen here, so give me a moment. Right. Let's see if this works. There we go. Right. So with the FTSE, this to me, I'm looking at this really on a 15. Let me just make sure that I can show you what I need to. Now, there's every chance that we could go beyond this level here. Every chance, but which is at 69.97 actually, so it's a little bit higher. Let's see what the round number looks like. So it's 7,000 around about there for that one. I think that's okay to aim for 7,000. There's a little gap up here as well. You can see around about 7,005. No, I don't really like the way that these are. Let me just change my foreground. Just so these become a little bit easier to see. So yeah, so somewhere in this area would be enough. Now, there are pivots, as I say. Oh, you know what? This is the wrong one. That's okay. All right. I was going to take it on this account as well. I've taken it on my own accounts, but I can't take it on this account because this is still the account for the weekend, I think. I think it's the account from the weekend, so I can't take it on that one.
Gets confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the levels will be okay. The levels will be absolutely fine. So you can still participate in this with me. Anywhere around here is fine. I mean, if you know with stops at the lows, you know, if that's the way you choose to play it, then you can put your stops at the lows. You're not going to get well, you got 33 down to around about 30 up. So let's see if we can make it a 1-to-1. And yeah, so the entry would be at 70. Well, it's absolutely fine. So 69.70 is an entry. Stop loss at the lows at 69.40 maybe. And the take profit at 7,000. So they're the levels that I'm going to aim for with this, mate. And I think it's got a good chance. You know, the FTSE's had an absolute obliteration, and it is just a dead cat bounce. That's all I'm trading. I'm not, which is why I'm not going to aim for those pivots. It could get to those pivots as well. It could go a lot higher because we've had such a massive move to the downside. But because I think there might be some more downside in this market, I'm going out, as I always try and do with this particular strategy, at first contact. So I'm just aiming for this this upper white line here, okay? And we'll see what we get out of it. I think if it breaks this high here, then it's got a pretty good chance of having a fairly swift move to the upside. But we will see. We will see whether it can make it. Now, I don't think I've got quite as much as I'd like on the other on my other account, so I'm just going to watch and see if I can add to the position a bit here. Oh, actually, what am I doing? Yeah, I would have quite liked to. Actually, yeah, give me a moment here, mate, because I might have to do something jiggery pokery here. See if I can.
Happy days. I will go through and show you guys, pardon me, how strong the yen is at the moment. And you may be surprised at that, but I want you to look at every single currency against the US dollar right now. Here's the Aussie. Tank, tank, tank. 4 days in a row. Sorry, that's Aussie, yes. What else have we got? Euro. Tank, tank, tank. 3 days in a row. Hasn't rallied at all at this point. Pound US dollar. Tank, tank, tank. 4 days in a row. Hasn't rallied at all at this point. Trying, but hasn't done so. Kiwi versus the US dollar. Tank, tank, tank. Same, same, same. CAD versus the US dollar. Tank, 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 tank. I know this is upside down, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Swissy versus the dollar. Bang, bang, bang. Same result. Singapore versus the dollar. Same result. Yen versus the dollar. 1 day up and 3 day, well, you have to call that a doji. Thursday doji so far today. That's that. Now I know dollar yen is a beast and it's got a mind of its own, but if you ever needed an indicator that told you relative strength of the yen at the moment, then that would be it. So that goes to what Ash and I were talking about before. I think it's time for the yen to shine. How long? No idea. But it's got a lot of work to do given the trashing that it's had over quite a long period of time. And those pairs that I would like to trade it against is the big question. But Aussie yen is right up there on top of that list because of what we've spoken about before. And I do believe that that sell-off that we've already seen begin has only just begun. Now, the trick, of course, is how do you get in here? And I think, as I said before, I'd really like to see a decent pullback. Whether we get one or not is another story. We are at the bottom of the range, which is really interesting. When I say the range, that's probably the widest range I can find in this area. There's obviously been a couple that were false break to the upside. Is this a false break to the downside? We don't know that yet, but in my humble, I believe that we've got further downside here. If I have a look at the monthly chart, where can that go? Well, we're at a support level at the moment. So I'm hopeful that we will get a bounce here of some kind and a lower high based, or not based on, but following that big reversal bar. So Aussie yen's absolutely on top of my list in terms of watch this week. The others, and this may be interesting to you as well, there were two currency pairs, in my opinion, that stood out over the weekend. Well, last week and over the weekend. And they are pound Swissy and Euro CAD. Why? Well, I'll give you a hint as to why. Just about every currency pair had a decent range break. You couldn't say that about pound Swissy, and you really can't say that about Euro CAD either. You may be thinking, okay, Euro CAD's about to explode. I don't necessarily hold to that, because we are back at the top of the range. Now, this, of course, is very, very interesting for me because when we're at tops of ranges, what am I looking for? I'm looking for one of two things. I'm looking for a breakout. And if we get a breakout, I'm looking for that to become false. And if we don't get a breakout, then I'm looking for a lower high to trade it back inside the range. So to my mind, the easiest pair or easiest two pairs on this one, this so far this week, are Euro CAD and Pound Swiss. And it's not because they've broken out, it's because they haven't broken out. And to me, that's really interesting. Now, I do expect, and we do have a really strong hint here that we're going to test these highs again. Don't really want to trade it there, but if I can find an entry down here somewhere, I think this is a good opportunity to get long pound Swissy to get short, if you like. I'll be waiting for if I don't get a setup, obviously I'll be waiting for the top here, come back underneath the trade line, retest it, and then trade it short. So, but this could be a long to get short, and EuroCAD could be a short full stop. And I'm quite keen on this. As you know, we're in a monthly trade on EuroCAD. I think this might be an excellent add-in if this does break through here. Perhaps there's an entry underneath this bar on the daily chart. We'll discuss that tomorrow. And perhaps it even comes earlier than that with a lower high on the 4-hour chart, something of that nature. But to me, those two are the most interesting charts this week, EuroCAD and Pound Swissy. Of course, they're all interesting because we want to know whether this is going to be a trendsetter, what the Fed has instigated, whether that's actually going to go to trend or whether it's actually just a big reaction to the news. G'day, Lewis. How you doing, buddy? What have we got from you? To Ash, that level is near the monthly pivots. Okay.
We'll have a look at that in a second. Interestingly, it's not near the monthly pivot on the futures, and that's what I'm really trading.
Cool. Let's go back to Aussie yen then, shall we? On the hourly chart, you already have one today? Oh, okay. This one? Yeah. Problem with this one, if that's the candle you're talking about, if it's today or if you've traded it well before, I'm not sure, Lewis. This one would be dangerous to me because you've got to get your stop loss up here. Well, sorry, you don't have to do anything. I would have to get my stop loss up here. And the risk factor, so entry there, 45 pips of risk would only net me maybe 12 or 13 pips of gain, which is not quite enough for me. First black candle of the day. Oh, this one. Okay. That's a wave rider trade, I guess, because that's a black candle that I wouldn't trade. Okay, nice. Then I'm assuming you've taken profit already. Awesome. Awesome. You'd be free trading. Don't have a problem with that. That sounds good to me. I'd like to join you, I'd have to say, but there's no way in for me just yet. I'll keep plugging away until there is one, mate. Nice. Where was I? Sorry, Ash, did you want to say something?
No, mate. I'm just beavering away, just putting my last little bits of detail into MT4 and
all good. I've got a few things I want to say as well. So I want to update some trades, or the only trades that we are in. Let's go with pound Kiwi on the monthly. Now that has triggered and is just in profit at the moment. Have we set a TP1 on this? I can't remember.
This is the pound Kiwi. I'm back with you, mate. I've finished doing what I need to do.
Pound Kiwi. I haven't got any text on my screen, so I don't know if I've set a TP1. I don't know. Let's talk about that, I suppose. Now that we're actually in the trade, where do we get in? We got in on this bar here, right? So risk 670. Yeah, I'm okay to go with that. 20. 2.015. Let me write that down. Pound Kiwi 2.015 is TP1. I'll just put a little line up there to remind me. 20, what did I say? 15. Pretty much there. Cool. Okay, that's pound Kiwi. So there's really nothing to do it, and you wouldn't expect to do anything on a monthly chart for quite some time. We will have to, however, watch the swaps on this because it could get away from us if we stay here for too long. We need to get something in the bank on that reasonably quickly. Yes, still in EuroCAD from January. Yep, that's still going. Where's that? EuroCAD. There we are. Look at it, done absolutely nothing since this big bear bar. It just keeps oscillating in that 148 vicinity. That's fine because they're paying us to stay there. That's good. Don't have a problem with that. Wish they did it every single day. That'd be wonderful. They should, you know, because we're nice people.
They're still paying, are they, mate?
Still paying me, yeah.
Paying, wow. It's amazing.
Euro yen. TP2, that was TP2, yes. So we've hit TP2. We've got our stops at entry. I'm of a mind to leave the stops there. There is an option, I would have thought, to bring your stops down to here, maybe there, to 132. But I think this needs a bit more space. This could easily bounce off this level and go beyond there. So I'm just going to leave my stops where they are at the moment. You can only win on that, so that's all good. Euro Swissy, we spoke about that earlier, and we didn't hit the target on the shorts, but we moved our stops to entry and then traded the long. The stops for entry were about here or here. Here was the entry for the short. So we trailed our stop to there. And I said, as soon as we hit the stop loss on the short, I'd take second profit on the long, which we've done. And stops are now at entry on the long as well. So that multi or a little bit more complex trade than normal is turning out okay, especially if this last part of the buy goes well for us. There's another trade we're in. What is it? Aussie dollar, and we've spoken about that, but I haven't told you what I'm going to do with it. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Stops are at entry, same as what's the other one? God, same as the other one where the stop loss is up here somewhere. Can't remember.
Swissy, was it Swissy? Euro Swiss, was it?
Euro yen.
Euro yen.
Euro yen. Yeah. Okay. So not doing anything with that either. Again, we've taken a second profit, and again, I want to give it as much room as is required. If we're hanging on this to this at the end of the month, which I suspect we may well be, not that one, but that one, which I suspect we may well be, monthly pivot moves down, then I think it'll be time to trail, but not at this point in time. So everything's looking really good. I mean, the Fed did us a few favors, I've got to say, and I'll take that because they often do you
know what they absolutely have done, mate, is create a bit of volatility. I mean, that's the one sort of thing that we've been waiting for, is just what is it? I can't think of the word. I've been trying to think of it all weekend. It's not dislodge, but it's when sort of like two things are stuck and then all of a sudden they do dislodge, but there's a better word for it. John
There's quite a few, I suppose.
He's a learned man. FTSE trade going really well, mate. It's I think it's probably going to get to target as well. I think it might even go beyond. We might have a bit of a genuine relief rally today. But anybody that did manage to get into that FTSE trade, you are in pretty good shape. And it's one of those areas where we're now in the area that you can start considering. I mean, you're literally 4 pips away from that 7,000 mark. Leave it. I mean, I would leave it because it still looks pretty good. But you can start thinking, okay, if this is coming back a little bit and bouncing down, I can start thinking about taking profit because you're close enough to a decent 1-to-1 to start the week there.
Yeah, Lewis, I think our trade of the week is we still haven't decided, but I think it's going to be pound yen, Gary. I think it's going to be pound yen.
So now you've got my full attention. Mate. I will sorry. It's still no, you know, I'm up at 1 every morning, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to try and kind of do the IFP and Mondays.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, that's not a good one for you.
My brain's well out. So we were looking at the pound yen, which I like the sound of.
But before we do, I just want to answer. Yeah, I just want to answer Lewis's question, I think, or statement more than anything. He's considering more profits at 129.50 or a target. 129.50. I'm a little bit more ambitious than that, Lewis. And here's my thought process. Already taken 2 lots of profit, and I've got my stops at entry. So the very worst thing that can happen is I take 2 lots of profit out of the trade. If this goes down to here, this level here, which would kind of make sense to me, there's still potentially 800 and odd pips in this trade. So I'm not going to. What am I risking? I'm risking 280, I suppose, to get 800 or nearly 900. So I'm okay with that. I'm quite okay with that. If you want to take profit, as I continue to say, and everybody says, you can't go broke banking money, mate. It's as simple as that. So it's either, it depends on, you know, your individual outlook, most definitely. I don't know how many profits you've taken at the moment, so it's entirely up to you, of course. 30 pips above not tested. Which one are you talking about, Swee? Sorry, I missed yours. Daily pivot. Oh, okay. I think you're probably talking about euro yen on the hourly chart. That would be my guess. Yes. Okay. Yep. Good. Cool. Okay. So we'll get to answer that question in a minute. Gary, Ash, you looking at more downside in the FTSE? Well, are you?
Yeah, I mean overall, but not obviously not now because we're long on the FTSE. But yeah, overall we would be looking at that.
Okay, trade of the week.
Trade of the week, yeah.
So it's the leading contender at the moment, Gary, is pound yen.
Yeah. So let's have a think about the yen. So let's think about the one thing about the yen, which is a little bit negative. I mean, everybody's really been kind of posting some growth numbers recently, right across the board. The one thing about the yen, which is a little bit negative. So if we think about the general kind of function of the yen. Not the general function. One of the functions of the yen, one of the reasons that people go to the yen is that kind of safety aspect, and that's because traditionally Japan has been a net exporter. So they've always had, or for most periods they are trade balance positive. So they're considered that safe haven because their economy. They make stuff, you know, they're producers, they're good producers. The one negative is that the last trade balance numbers were halved. So the exports versus the imports were half the numbers of the previous print. Now that's not bad in itself because these things do fluctuate and it could have been seasonally adjusted and we'd have to kind of look at that. But they had halved, you know, they had come down. So really, I would have liked to seen some growth there to say, you know, the yen's a really solid currency, so we should go there. The caveat to that is that in times like this, it kind of doesn't matter because everybody is just focusing on the fact that they are scared. They're scared about what's going to happen to their wealth. What do they do while they think about what they're going to do with their money? They just shift it all over to the yen. Now we're comparing it to the pound. So now we need to have a think about the pound. What's been going on with the pound? Well, again, the numbers have been pretty good. Retail numbers on Friday weren't too stellar. But generally speaking, the numbers have been pretty good. And I would actually go as far as to say the pound or the UK has been one of the overperformers in among its peers. And the question then becomes, will Governor Bailey and the rest of will the Bank of England also start talking about tapering now that the Fed has talked about tapering? We have got, I think, a speech or a release this week. Is it Wednesday, mate? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, there's a few speeches.
Yeah.
Can't remember who. I know Lagarde is speaking.
Lagarde's speaking today, isn't she? Yeah.
I think Powell's speaking again. Yeah.
And I think it's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah. Thursday. We've actually got the rate decision from the UK of Thursday.
Oh, of course we do.
We've got the same as we had from the Fed last week. We got from the UK today. So that might just put a bit of a hiatus on things with the pound yen. What might be better to do is see what happens if the pound starts to strengthen a bit or bob around in this area, and then we try and make a decision on maybe your breakout trade might be the better way to play this, mate. The way that you trade the breakout, that might be a better way to trade it. I mean, yes, we'd probably be looking at pound short, and one of the reasons I'd be looking at pound short is that we've just had some fairly poor retail sales numbers. On top of that, the UK is extending the opening up of the economy, and this Delta variant does seem to be fairly rife, and it is kind of going through the country quite quickly. And I wonder whether that might also be a bit of a problem with the expectations of the UK economy. If will there be some kind of delay of or even another lockdown coming? I don't think people are assuming that will be the case yet, but that's got to be kind of at the back of people's minds.
Okay, then we both agree the Aussie is going to be weak for a little, or do we? That's my
I think the Aussie. Yeah, the Aussie definitely looks like the one that you could continue with. Yeah, I'd go with that.
So I'm trying to steer away from the dollar, but it's difficult. It's really difficult to do.
Well, so strong dollar. Well done by the way, John. I would suggest that you might start to look to tighten those stops up in around about 40 pips time, because then we do really hit a bit of a brick wall at that time. So not saying take your money, but maybe at that point just start to tighten it up. Leave you some room to go till there, but another 40 pips. So somewhere in about the 70-50 looks about right. Yeah, about 70-50 looks about right for it to maybe run out of a bit of steam. But that's fantastic, mate. I'm glad you got that one on. Brilliant. Okay, so but yeah, so the Aussie, I would agree with you, and I would also agree with you on the dollar. It's going to be difficult to ignore now, mate. I think that when it comes down to,
I know,
what's happened is has changed it has changed the parameters, and it has changed the terrain. So we did say that we would wait and see what happened, and then try and hop on the dollar because it's got a lot of room. So we might have to go with it, mate. That might have to be the trade of the week, even. I don't know. Could we get it? Do you know what might? I don't know. I was going to say what might be a play is gold. It's gold short, but I'm not sure about that either. Gold.
Yeah, that's
gold
a tough
also,
one. Gold.
Gold is tough because we got that inverted head and shoulders on the weekly, and we're right on top of that right hand shoulder. So with the dollar strengthening, inevitably gold has weakened. But is this an opportunity now to buy some gold? I know Lewis brought us last week the sentiment cycle, which was fascinating. But I think that it might well pop from here, and at least try and get back up again. Yeah, you're looking at that. Is that the weekly?
No, I'm looking at Aussie CAD.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, mate. Yeah. CAD's seasonally and COT data suggests short as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't be like that.
Yeah. But that's just what they suggest. I mean, it doesn't mean anything in some respects until you kind of get.
No, but what we're trying to do is agree with both, aren't we? We're trying to agree with what your data says and what technicals are saying. That's the whole point of the exercise. So scratch, big cross through that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What else? Swissy yen?
Swissy. So the Swissy is a bit of a fascinating one in some respects, because what happened last week with the Swissy is that we saw a bit of a spike with the selling pressure in the COT data, but overall the COT data is suggesting a kind of a neutral stance on the Swissy. But we did see a spike like last week, and that was up till Tuesday. We're not talking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so missed that completely. It didn't catch this move. But there was a spike from the previous Tuesday to last Tuesday that suggested that there is a group of the commercials that have gone short. I don't know if that becomes significant. Were you thinking Swiss yen long or short?
Oh no, it has to be short.
Oh well, that's okay then, mate. I mean, as I say, that on the short term, it looks like the Swissy could be a bit of a short.
Yeah, look.
I'm just bringing up the COT data now. I'm just having a look.
Tell me where the primary trend is here, guys.
Swissy's neutral to a sell. The seasonality on the Swissy is a buy.
Okay. Scratch that one then.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to find it hard to find correlation between the seasonality and the COT, except for with the pound and the CAD. So the pound looks like a short and the CAD looks like a short. Now, can you find some trade? Yeah, well, do you know what you could try? Maybe a pound dollar short or a dollar CAD long. I think is an opportunity potentially if you can get a technical setup there.
Yeah, well, I haven't. They're all reversals, but they're not key reversals, and that's kind of where I'm trying to get this information from, because they're the best. They really are the best. So we can.
Lewis is saying that the Kiwi CAD long and the Kiwi is neutral. Yeah, the Kiwi's neutral, so on both accounts. So yeah, Kiwi CAD long's an option.
Sure.
or even the pound Kiwi maybe.
Kiwi CAD long is not an option from my chart point of view, although no. Sorry,
pound Kiwi short.
Pound Kiwi short.
That Kiwi CAD long had an inverted head and shoulders there, didn't it?
Kiwi CAD?
Yeah.
On the monthly or the weekly?
Whichever time frame you were just on. Yeah, is it that one? No. Daily, is it? That one.
That's the monthly.
That's the monthly.
Okay. The monthly looks okay, but I would have to trade that on that bar there.
Yeah. Okay, too far away. No problem. So yeah, what about the Kiwi CAD? What about the pound Kiwi or pound Kiwi for a short?
Can't see it. I can see a big head and some shoulders here, but again, we're a long way from there.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that because we're in the long. I'm saying that because, and I'll show you why. That's a clear false break for mine. And this little tweezer bottom sitting here suggests that we're going at least to a strong resistance level, which probably is there where I've got my first take profit.
Right.
So yeah, I'd be hard to convince that this is going short.
Okay. All right. That's no good. All right. So is it possible that we just don't have the trade yet?
It is possible. So
even though we'd like to trade today, maybe it comes into to view a bit better tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm still going back to pound yen. Did we really get rid of that?
No. The pound yen's okay. I mean, the pound yen for a short would be fine. Not a problem. The only reason I was wondering whether the pound's timing might be a bit early is because we've got the Bank of England on Thursday.
Which may help us.
May do, exactly. Yeah, it may do.
So I quite like this as a range trade also.
Well, for a long.
No, for sure.
For sure. Okay, no, short's
Yeah.
short's better because the yen is good. I mean, with the COT data on the yen is neutral to good. The seasonality is very, very good. The fundamentals are neutral. With the pound, the COT data is really weak. The seasonality is really, really weak. The fundamentals are in a little bit of a state of flux, and that's because of this new kind of the variant that's just popped up. So the data's kind of taking a bit of a back seat. Great. Lewis is saying the pound yen is definitely a short for him and similar to euro yen. So maybe between us we might be able to thrash this out.
Where are we going to put our stops?
What time frame are you going on here, mate?
Weekly.
On the weekly, okay. And you're looking to take the short off the low of this bar?
Off the low of the week. Well, off the weekly bar, really. Off last week's weekly bar.
Oh, off last week's bar.
So what the technical and way to trade this is to trade the bar. Just stops here, entry here.
Yeah.
That's how we've been trading it.
I think we go for that.
My gut instinct says we wait for a weekly pivot test and trade it there.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't mind doing is putting entry A here and entry B here.
Yeah. And what about, you see that left shoulder?
Yes.
Where does that come out in comparison to the pivots?
When you say come out, you mean there?
Yeah. Is that the same price?
It's between the weekly pivot and the daily pivot, but the monthly pivot's there also, you see. They're all there.
I think that looks like the sweet spot to me. I mean, it's yeah.
Should we put a small stake here?
I don't think we should, mate. I don't think we'd be getting any value.
So put a limit entry order.
Yeah, I think so. I personally, that's the way I would do it. And then, do you know what would be good? I would say, let's go with a limit entry there. If we get put into that position, let's add to it at the low. And put the original one at break even. So we're still only trading half a position, but we've got two on.
Okay, cool. So I'm in favor of putting it not at that level, but at the weekly pivot level. Because we may miss that level.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with that.
All right. So we're going to
be honest, I would have gone with that. My left shoulder would have been on the close prices anyway, rather than the high.
Yeah, sure.
So it would bring it down nearer that weekly pivot by the looks of things.
That'd be very close to it. Yes. Well, we'll go with your level, 152.92. So there's the weekly trade. It's pound yen. Because I can place it going on here. Pound yen, 152.92. I said, didn't I?
152. Yes. Yeah.
So it'll be a sell limit. $152.92. Are we going to use my candle?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think that I don't know. Have we just ignored the technical picture that you need to see to get into this trade?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because the technical picture for me is this bar is the dominant bar.
Okay.
But if I was trading this as a slingshot trader, then I'm waiting for the pullback anyway.
Okay.
So that's why I think we probably should use two entries.
Yes.
Already. So this one here and then this one here.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't retrace, which is entirely possible, then it goes to here probably first up.
Yeah, that's fair, mate.
But
Okay, all right.
Let's
go with that. And you know, I think it's important that you kind of have the authority on what the way we're then going to use the technicals to trade it.
Okay, so we're going to just 0.25% for the limit entry order.
Yes, we limit entries on the weekly pivot.
Yep. Stop loss. We'll still use the high of the candle, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
155.40. Let's go with 155.55. Sounds good. So that's what, 263 pips of risk. That's cool. Now, I noticed somebody's put, it's a 360 pip candle. Look, that's fine, because when I'm thinking targets here, I'm thinking minimum here and probably down here somewhere. So if 360 pip candle becomes, you know, 809, suddenly 900 pips there and nearly 2100 pips there, it doesn't really make too much of an issue, yeah?
No, and this is this is one of those, isn't it? That the yen really is strong for a few months here. You know, it tends to be strong for a few months, so it may well it could go to either of those targets quite easily. Just take a little while, and hopefully we'll get some swaps paid too.
No, probably not on this one. But we'll definitely get some ads. I mean, there'll be an ad in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Once this is broken as well. So this could be a good one. So 152.92. I've got to write this down, obviously. And stop loss is at 155. What did I say? 55. Yes. 155.55. Now, for the other one, the entry is at 151.91. That's another 100 pips sacrificed. Stop loss is the same. So I'll place that as well. Sell stop this time. At, already did that. 151.91. 151.91. Decimal point, wrong place. And stop loss 155.55. What have I done there? I'll get it right in a minute. 155.55. 151.91. Why is it doing that, Ash?
Was it not? Was it not doing? It's not going in, is it? You got a dot in there. 155.55 for a stop loss. Oh, that's the sell stop, is it? Yeah.
That's all right. I just had to do it another way. Wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. Now it has. Okay. Righto, there they are.
Fantastic.
Take profits. Take profits. $149.87 for TP1 on the stop order. 149.87 on the limit order. Yeah, I like that. 151.61 on the limit order. So half off at both those levels.
Brilliant.
151.61. All right, got that sorted.
Well done, mate.
JPY limit short,
I think.
that
Yeah.
weekly. Short. Oh, sorry, sweet. Yeah. Okay, I'll catch up. All right. So there's the weekly trades. And that is just about where we're at. I want to have a look at euro dollar, because euro dollar, I think, is going to end up as a short. But and here's the way I deal with all of those things every single time. It's the same. When we do get these runaways, all I'm waiting for is a false break of resistance. Any false break of resistance, don't care if it's here, don't care if it's there, don't care if it's up there. Pursuant and going along with the theme that we've spoken about, you've pretty much got to have the course of least resistance for the US dollar is long at the moment. You've probably got to have that in your brain. So therefore, any opportunity that I get that is a false break against the US dollar, then that's exactly what I'll look to trade. So that can be any pair. It doesn't matter what it is at the moment. You've got to follow that course of least resistance right now. I wouldn't say I'm a fan from a personal point of view, because I hate the US dollar, but once they start buying it, it's going to be hard to stop them for a little bit, I think.
I agree. And also, you might get it today because we've got the ECB today, so we might actually get that false break created.
Cool. So that's my theme for the week. Anything that looks like a false break with US dollar as the base currency, then I'll be looking to short that.
Fantastic. Okay, mate. Well, let's wrap it up there. The FTSE is coming back on us, so I don't know how everybody's decided to play the FTSE. But John, I know you've made some money this morning, and anybody else that managed to trade it as well, I hope you managed to secure that profit. Swee, did you get the FTSE as well? That'd be great if you did. So Lewis, Ash, you looking for more downside in the FTSE after this surge? Yeah, probably, but I don't know about today. I mean, it's one of those that I will now go away and have another look at this market generally. I like to see if I can get my money banked early for the day, and now I can kind of just go away and almost disassociate myself with price. So I'm going to go and do some work on that. It would be in the weekend was quite busy really for me. So, but I suspect so. Yeah, the Nasdaq. You're watching the Nasdaq for a short. I want the Nasdaq shorts. What's going on with the Nasdaq currently? Oops. I just don't know. With this one, Sweet, I just don't know why it's holding on. You know, out of all the currencies, it's still in an uptrend, which is a big problem. The Nasdaq hasn't broken down. So I'm going to say at this point, and it's a bit of a stick my neck out, but I'm going to say that the Nasdaq may have to be avoided until we kind of get a clearer picture of what's going on with it, because it's not breaking down. And last week I was saying maybe a safe way to trade would be short Nasdaq, long FTSE, because at least you're hedged. Now, if you'd put that trade on, you would have been obliterated. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Lewis. I think short the Dow Jones is a better option. So yeah, I would be careful with that one, Sweet. I tried the Nasdaq last week, and I did make money out of it, but it was tough. I had a tough time trading the Nasdaq, and it shouldn't have been tough. It should have been easy. And I chose the Nasdaq short over the FTSE, and that was a mistake in the end. So yeah, be careful with that one. I think Lewis is right. I think the Dow Jones short might be safer. If the Nasdaq does come unstuck, it could really tank, and that's what I was looking for. But it's been pretty resilient to this point, which I'm surprised at. And I haven't worked out why yet. And until I do, I think I'm going to avoid it.
Lewis, I don't think you're crazy at all. I think you're very, very well served by your ability to identify those. So I don't think you're crazy. Not at all.
Yeah, no, I think you're kind of enlightening both Jeff and I at the minute with some of your opinions, Lewis. So yeah, thank you for those. Thank you to everyone else as well. I think it's been a decent, solid Monday, mate, and I'm glad we got our trade on. And I think that's quite a cool new
Took
concept.
a bit of extracting. Took a bit of getting out. But...
It did. It did take a bit of extracting, or maybe they will each week, but I think that's okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see how it's shaping up for tomorrow. So everybody else have a fantastic and safe afternoon. And to the same to you, mate. I'm not sure what time it is there. Probably evening, is it?
6:10 in the evening, yes.
6:10 in the evening. Well, have a lovely rest of your evening and lovely rest of your evening to Angel as well. Thanks for helping us out as always. And I will say bon bouche to everybody until tomorrow.
Yeah, cheers, everyone. Thanks for being our trading buddies, and we will see you on Crypto Tuesday tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye.